Guys, I did it. I filmed my very first podcast all by myself in my house. Although it took a lot of people to get me to this point, which is kind of the point of the whole show. Let's do it! I'm Ariande Till, and this is my Watch This moment. No second guessing, no holding back. Welcome to the first episode of my new podcast, Watch This, a show about taking the leap in your career, in your creativity, in your life, and watching what happens when you finally stop waiting for the right time. In every episode, I'll sit down with people who have pushed doubt aside, pushed outside of their comfort zone, and said, watch this. But in this first episode, it's just me. And I'm gonna tell you why I created Watch This and how it can help you finally turn your big ideas into reality. Let's get into it. Throughout my career, I've made a lot of content for other people, mostly news stations, and I poured everything I had into those jobs. I started early, I worked late, I talked about the brand everywhere I went. It was my life. And honestly, I took a lot of pride in being good at it. But most of the time, I was working that hard to prove to somebody else that I could do something they didn't think I was capable of. See, that's the thing about me. I'm not particularly good at hearing the words, no, or you can't do this, or I don't really think that's your thing. Those words light a fire under my ass. You've basically challenged me to a duel. And whether I cared about actually being able to do whatever it is that someone thought I couldn't do, I am now on a mission to prove them wrong. And I do. After every challenge from every doubter, I would quietly say to myself and my mom, watch this. I once had a news director tell me that I couldn't cover hard news because my personality was too bubbly. So what did I do? I created an Instagram news show on her station's page that covered hard news. And guess what? It performed well. So well, in fact, that it caught the eye of people who would give me more opportunities to grow. Opportunities that would lead me to being the host of a national fact-checking brand. And that felt like the ultimate FU to her and any other naysayers out there. But if I'm being totally honest with you, and with myself, doing things to prove that you can do them to other people isn't fulfilling. And unfortunately, a little bit of what they say sticks to you. Hear me out. Whenever I reached a milestone, I wouldn't revel in the glory. Instead, I would worry. Was this a one-off? Could I do this again? And while the answer was usually yes, I could and I did, I became so focused on being good for other people that I put my own dreams on hold. And I had a million excuses for it, many of which hinged on the security of a nice paycheck and a pension plan, but I knew I wasn't fulfilled. And I wasn't fulfilling my fullest potential, my purpose. And what is that purpose, you ask? Well, here's the thing. Your purpose really does find you. My friends and family will tell you that I am their biggest hype man, always encouraging them to do the hard stuff, try new things, chase their dreams, and stop listening to the negative voices in their heads. I have sat down with them, helped them put goals in place, mapped out a timeline, and showed up as an accountability partner. Because yes, of course, I love them and I believe in them, but ultimately, because I love seeing them get the courage to not only believe in themselves, but finally make good on promises that they made to themselves years ago. And that is one of the best kind of watch this moments. Now, at the same time, they've always told me that I should put as much effort into creating content for myself as I do for other people and other companies. And they're right. I have notes in my phone full of ideas for content that I should create and descriptions of what I want my life to look like. And for as much as I hype up the people in my life that I love, they are right there pushing me too. But for whatever reason, I was always waiting for the perfect idea, the perfect amount of money in savings, the right place to do it, and the perfect time. The joke's on me, because there's never a perfect time. However, there is always an imperfectly timed push, sometimes several. And for me, that push was on February 2nd when I was laid off from my job. I wasn't ready. I had just spent a lot of money from my emergency fund to get mold out of my basement. I was in the midst of working with an architect on plans to renovate that space, plans that included a green screen for the job I was just laid off from. Plans that in part were hinging on money that I was planning to make. But that's life, right? I thought about changing the space. Shoot, I lost sleep over changing that space. I mean, what was the need for a studio anymore? It wasn't like I had a job, but something told me to just keep it, and not to just keep it, to make it fabulous. And that fabulous space was supposed to be done, ready to show off to the world on August 14th. But it's August 19th, and it currently looks like this. Like I said, there was never gonna be a perfect time. And waiting for the right moment this time felt like it would be holding me back. So I decided to stop waiting and wondering what if, and instead say, watch this. So here we are in my living room filming the first episode of my podcast, a podcast aimed at helping you reach your biggest goals and helping me see mine through. This show is for you if you have an idea, a dream, that thing that you cannot stop thinking about. And like me, you are finally sick of waiting for the perfect time or the perfect version of yourself to get started. This show is here to remind you that it's already your moment. Okay, so what can you actually expect when you hit play on Watch This every week? First up, interviews, but not the boring kind where someone just talks about their success. I'm talking about people who are right in the middle of living out their boldest, most audacious ideas. The event planner who started a fashion company in her 50s. The movie director who spent years helping other people before making his first big hit. The news reporter who decided to learn how to sew because she had a cool idea for an upcycling business. Real people, real stories, real inspiration. Plus, because your girl loves accountability, it's actually my power word for 2025, we have got franchise segments. And these are my favorite because they're all about giving you actual tools that you can use, like the Tiny Moves series. Every week, you'll get a concrete tool or piece of inspiration that you can actually apply to whatever it is that you're working on. Here's the thing, and this is super important to me. I want this show to be interactive as hell. I don't plan to just be sitting here talking to you from my little living room. I actually want to hear from you. I want to talk to you. So drop your thoughts in the comments. Tell me what's been holding you back. And I mean, really tell me. Is it fear? Is it money? Is it time? Is it that voice in your head that keeps saying, you're not qualified? I've been there. It's lying to you. I want to know, because chances are, if you're struggling with it, so is somebody else that's watching or listening to this. It is my dream to create a community of people that will help each other have those breakthrough, watch this moments. So here we go. Get ready to surprise yourself, my friends, because you are actually going to do the thing. You're gonna take that leap and you're gonna say, watch this. Now, when you do that, make sure that you use the hashtag #MyWatchThisMoment or tag me at HeyWatchThisPod. I'm gonna share some of my favorites right here on the show. This isn't just a podcast that you listen to or watch. It's a community of people who are done making excuses and who are ready to make moves. So let's start right now. Our first segment is called Tiny Moves, the part of the show where we turn analysis paralysis into actual progress. Here's the deal. Big ideas don't need big actions to get started. They need tiny, fearless ones. And today I have a super tool that is going to help you take action even when your brain is screaming, but what if it fails? Let's be real. The gap between a great idea and doing something about it is where most dreams go to die. You know what happens. You have this brilliant concept. You research it to death. You make a pros and cons list. You wait for the perfect moment and then nothing. But here's what I've learned. The enemy of action isn't fear. It's the story we tell ourselves about what action has to look like. We think taking action means quitting your job, investing thousands of dollars, or having the perfect business plan. That's not action. That is jumping off a cliff. And it's not realistic for most people. It definitely wasn't for me. What you need is one tiny step. One step that creates momentum without creating panic. So here's your tool for this week. I call it the 15-minute fear hack. And it works because it's too small to be scary, but big enough to create momentum. Step 1. Set a timer for 15 minutes. That's it. Not an hour, not when you have time, 15 minutes. Step 2, answer these 3 questions on a piece of paper. I mean, you can type them if you want, but I like to write things down. It makes it more permanent. First question, what's the smallest version of this idea that I could test? If your idea is starting a business, the smallest version isn't writing a business plan. It's writing down 3 problems that your business would solve. If your idea is creating content, don't plan out a whole series. Write 1 paragraph about why the topic matters to you. Second question, who's the one person you could talk to about this? A friend, a mentor, a partner, anyone you trust. And finally, what's the one thing you could do next week that would teach you something about this idea? Then, step 3, when the timer goes off, stop, even if you're on a roll. Here's why this works. Your brain can't catastrophize about 15 minutes. I mean, for some of us it can, but normally, you can stick through 15 minutes, but it is enough time to prove that you can take action on your idea. Your challenge? Set the timer right after this episode ends. Grab a piece of paper and write messy answers to all 3 of those questions. Once you've done this, you are no longer someone that has an idea. You are someone who is working on an idea. And that shift changes everything. Remember, momentum isn't built by perfect plans. It's built by so many imperfect actions. Now, I am my father's daughter, so you're gonna have to get used to a lot of corny sayings and one-liners, so be kind. And remember, you don't have to have the entire staircase to take the first step. You just gotta take it. And that, my friends, is your Tiny Moves challenge for this week. 15 minutes, 3 questions, no excuses. Next week, I'm gonna share a tool for what you do after you take that tiny step. Now, as always, or what will be always, but this is my first episode, I got one line for you. It's gonna become a staple on this show. No second guessing, no holding back. Just get to work so you can finally say, watch this. If you liked this episode or learned something new, hit that like button and make sure to hit subscribe for more Watch This stories and strategies on how to embrace your moment. Guys, I did it. I filmed my very first podcast all by myself in my house. Although it took a lot of people to get me to this point, which is kind of the point of the whole show. Let's do it!